Hi, I'm Commander Mark, and this is the Secret City, a place of fun, fantasy, and adventure. On this program, I'll show you how to draw in 3 dimensions using the special art word, proportion. First, we'll draw some coins to show proportion, and then we'll draw a jumbo jet and a small jet to demonstrate how important this word is. When we get to the mural, we'll be adding a whole fleet of spaceships using what we learned today in the lesson. Architect Dick Schaefer's here today. He's going to show you how to use 3D models to create architectural drawings. I know you want to become a member of the Secret City Club, so Zebtron will tell you how easy it is to join. Now here's what you need to follow along today. Your drawing pad, your drawing pencil, your guest book to take some notes on how Dick Schaefer uses his 3D models when he draws. Now, you gather those materials together, and I'll be right back. So you're all energized, right? You're hyped up and you're ready to fly across this piece of paper. I said fly because we're drawing airplanes today. And we're going to draw a 3-dimensional drawing. So loosen up, get your fingers all loosened up, and we'll learn that word proportion. First of all, take your pencil and draw a line in direction. Do you remember what direction this is? What direction is that? Direction 7. All right, well, we'll take this direction 7 line and we'll build a simple small airplane, and we'll use proportion. We'll draw a rather large window on it to make this airplane look like it's a small little jet. And then we'll draw almost the same size of an airplane, but this time we'll put smaller windows on it down here, and we'll draw a jumbo jet. Now, depends on where you want your wing. I'm going to put my wing back in this area, so I'll darken in the back line in direction 7. Then draw a direction 1 line off the end, off the tail, extend it right through. Make sure it lines up. Make sure these wings lie down. Sometimes you make them droop too much, and try to avoid that. From this dot to this dot, connect it, a fancy wing that slants back like that, and you see the tail end of that triangle back there. Now draw the back stabilizer, the fin, direction 7. From this point to the body, you can curve it down, you can come straight down. I think I'll curve it just a bit. And then I'll put some stabilizers on that back wing. Direction 7, and then direction 1 line. Now just think of foreshortened and squares when you're drawing this one. You've drawn enough of those foreshortened and squares to know exactly what I'm talking about. And then a direction 7, or direction 1 line here, and then go in the direction 7, so you have that little peekaboo stabilizer. And now for the cockpit where the pilot sits, draw. There's a foreshortened circle there, huh? See, all these magic words come into play. Do you remember all 7 of them right now? Can you see all 7 of them? Surface, size, contour lines, shading, density, overlapping, and what's the last one? Foreshortening. And the word today is a really important art word, proportion. I'm going to darken this in right here. Fancy little point on a plane. And then I'll put some contour lines wrapping around the plane. You see how this window right here is smaller, and I'll draw another plane. Instead of just making this plane coming down the same direction, let's turn it. Start with a line, a guideline, going in this direction. What direction is that? Direction 1. Real loose, real sketchy. You can clean up your drawings later. And then really lightly draw in the body of your jumbo jet. Are you keeping up with me all right? You have your pencil sharp, right? Okay, let's finish this drawing up. Draw the body and then curve the back right here. It's almost like a bullet shape. And then we'll draw stabilizer back here. And look at it, runs right into the other plane. Curve the tail. Now you can put the wing coming off of this angle, or you can put it further into the back. I think I'll start the wing about right here. Darken this line in direction 1, direction 7. Match this direction 7 line up here. Goes right through. Direction 7. These are tricky drawings. These take some practice to make sure these wings lie down. The peekaboo wing back here, you barely see it. You line it up. See, if you took your pencil and you line this line up, it goes right across the airplane. Now, proportion here, the window's drawn large, so the plane looks rather small. And look at this. I'll make these windows little tiny tourist windows. Hello, Zeptron. How are you? I love that. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get the hat?
Do you like my hat, Commander?
I especially like the propeller right here. You can spin it around.
Because it reminds me of your drawing.
You know what? I can draw little tiny windows in that hat and make use of proportion. I don't have my black pen. In fact, I can use one of these pens right here. I use red. Can I draw on your hat?
No, Commander.
Oh, come on.
It belongs to my siblings.
See,
and
if I
he
drew...
will become very upset.
But you know, if I drew tiny hats, the hat, with tiny little windows, the hat would look huge. And if I drew a big window, the hat would look small, using proportion.
Well, do you not draw on the glass?
Wow, okay. You don't want me to draw on your hat, huh?
No,
Can I draw on your vest?
No, Commander. You are being
Okay.
silly today.
I'll put my pen where it belongs, and I'll start drawing these windows here again. That's a neat hat. I want to wear it sometimes, okay? Ask your sibling if I can wear it sometimes.
I will, Commander.
See how tiny these little, we see the people in there waving. They're going to Hawaii, and they're happy today.
Hawaii?
Would you like to go to Hawaii sometime?
I imagine, though I do not know where Hawaii is.
Well, you surf, don't you?
Surf? I do not think so.
I'll tell you what that is someday. Now I'll put a little pilot's window right here. Now I'll put some contour lines wrapping around. You see, I'll put another contour line. See, these curved lines give your plane more shape. Add some shading. It's dark underneath here.
Commander, I must fly away and learn more about architecture.
I'll see you later, Zeptron. Nice and dark down here. Zeptron's in a good mood today. Lighter and lighter to move up. Lighter and lighter. You can even take your finger and blend that up just a little bit. I'll shade underneath this airplane too. Dark underneath here. Lighter and lighter. Nice and dark. See, if you're using a pen, you just have to draw these lines like this. I'll make the captain's window wrapping around just a bit more. Give him a little more space to see the earth underneath him. I love flying in planes. Well, you see all kinds of terrain, all kinds of territory. Sometimes, if you want, you could even draw a secret city from a really high aerial point of view. That might be interesting. I've never done that. That might be a fun thing to do. Okay, now let's make a cloud of smoke coming out of the back of this plane. Draw a streamline coming out of the back. And then, what magic word am I using here? Overlapping. And then draw these puffs, these clouds of smoke overlapping. See, it looks like a ball. Balls of cotton overlapping each other. Just streamline that back here. You can have some fun with your drawing. Some more shading here. Some more shading here. Now, draw. Practice your drawing every day. How much? About 20 or 30 minutes a day. And the magic word, the important art word to keep in your mind is proportion.
Once upon a time, there was no drawing in the secret city. In fact, until Commander Mark began to draw, there was no secret city. You have many drawings in your imagination, but if you do not put them on paper, no one will see them. You should also become a member of the Secret City Drawing Club. It is easy to join. All you must do is send a drawing to the commander. This week's activity is to draw a transportation system for the underground planet. A transportation system is a way of traveling from location to location. It is like riding in a rocket ship or a locomotive or flying in a fugel. Here are some examples from Earth. The first drawing is by Rodriguez. It is a drawing of many small little flying saucers. And notice a transportation system in a tubular fashion going from building to building. This drawing is by club member Reed Miller. It is a fish scooter. It could go on land. It could go on water. It is very humorous. Send your drawing to Secret City Club, Post Office Box 444, Moraga, California 94556, United States of America, planet Earth, the universe. This is a wonderful model. It is truly awesome. You like to play with models like Zeptron.
I sure do, Zebtron, but this model had a very special purpose. I used this model to help me make a artist rendering.
A rendering is a drawing. You made this model to make a drawing?
That's right. It's a particular kind of architectural drawing that I was asked to do of a proposed museum complex that's not yet built.
A museum complex that is not yet built sounds very, very confusing.
Well, Zebtron, I've got a picture of the existing site where the new museum complex will go. Will go in this area. There'll be a large museum building here. Where the parking lot is, a road will go with some trees, and in the back of the site will go more museum buildings.
It is very interesting because this shape I can find in the model right here.
That's right, Zebtron. That's the Carroll Mansion on the corner of the museum site. The other buildings were only proposed, and I had architects' drawings to help me put together all the pieces in order to make my drawing.
What else did you do?
One of the pieces I had was the facade that would go on the big museum building on the corner. In this case, this is a cast iron facade that we were going to use on our new museum building.
A cast iron facade sounds very heavy.
It is, Zebtron. This particular facade is in storage in the city. It was on an old building, and we're going to use it on our new museum building.
It was in storage. It sounds very, very difficult to store an entire building in boxes and put it away.
Well, it is, Zebtron, but at least we have all the pieces numbered to make storage simple and to make it easy to put the building together again.
It sounds like a giant puzzle.
It is. Another drawing I used was a construction drawing of some of the buildings at the back of the site. In this case, these buildings, as we can see on the model, occur here. We used these drawings so that I knew where the windows and doors, shutters, roofs, and chimneys will go on the finished drawing.
There are so many things to remember. What else did you have to remember?
Well, after getting all these parts, I then made a preliminary drawing that would show what the final drawing would look like.
This is very unusual. I do not see any windows or doorways in your drawing.
In this case, Zebtron, I decided to put the detail only on the final drawing. This drawing I didn't need that detail for. This was mainly to get my shadow and shade correct, to get my proportions right, and to establish the angle of the drawing.
This looks like a drawing that Commander Mark might do. It has a lot of shading. Do you chuckle when you shade?
I do sometimes. In addition to being a drawing like Commander Mark does, this is also very similar to drawings that Grant Wood does. He's a very famous American artist that especially did landscape drawings where he used these lollipop trees and had this type of composition, and he used this type of shadow and shade.
Do these lollipop trees exist now?
No, Zebtron. These trees will go in this site only after the road is put in.
What is there now?
Right now, as you saw on the photograph, exists only a parking lot.
Much improvement, much improvement.
Another thing I used this drawing was for a few elements that we really didn't know what they would be. In this case, I didn't know exactly how the courtyards would be designed, nor did I know exactly what sort of treatment we needed along the sidewalk. In this drawing, I drew a brick wall. What I then did is show this to the client, and when he saw these elements in the drawing, he decided that we should make the drawing a little different, and instead of a brick wall, I should substitute an iron fence.
What did it look like at completion?
Well, using this preliminary drawing, and always referring to my model, using the architectural drawings that I showed you for the detail, and incorporating the changes recommended by the clients, this is the final drawing.
It is very, very interesting. There is the facade you talked about that was in storage.
The iron facade, that's right.
And I noticed the changes of the fence.
The wall we took out, and I put in an iron fence.
This is very, very intriguing to me. When I see this model and I see this drawing, I know that our club members will want to become architects. They will want to become architects like you and build models and then create it on paper. This is very much fun. It is like an investigator taking all of your facts and putting them together and coming up with a completed thing. You are a very good designer and architect.
Thanks, Zebtron.
Dick Schaefer had some really neat drawings to show you, and I have some more drawings to show you in the gallery. Now let's take a look at this drawing right here. Look at this, some different castles and some sailing vessels. Really interesting, from Spain, from France. See, John did this drawing, and beautiful, beautiful drawings. Like, he did some research. He looked in some encyclopedias and some books, and really, he enjoyed drawing the castles. Let's look at another drawing. Now here's two secret cities. Now the top secret city is done, and now his name's really tiny right here, by Mike, and he even had a sign saying, "Welcome to the secret city." See how he used all those magic words, put them together, and he built a secret city. Now let's move down here. Let's look at the next drawing. This is by, right down here at the bottom, by Brian Sanders. Look at that. Beautiful drawing. Now I'm using some proportion on the secret city mural. I'm going to draw a whole fleet of flying saucers, but using proportion, see what proportion does, it helps you establish the size relationships of objects in a drawing. And you notice how over here, I made these flying saucers rather large. They look close to you, but on the flying saucer space station out here, it's a humongous space station, so the flying saucers are going to be just really tiny. It'll make the space station look huge. So I'll draw really tiny little flying saucers parked over here. You can barely even see the detail. I'll put some legs on each flying saucer and a little antenna. I'll draw a whole row, but I have to have some way for the flying saucers to scoot out of the space station, right? So some kind of takeoff ramp, and so I'll put a scoop out of the side of the space station side. There's the corner. Now watch how I do this. You can even take some notes and use this in your space station. See how that curves out, just scoops out of the side of the building, and the flying saucers, when they land here, and then they can take off anytime they want to. Now, you darken this in so it makes these lines line up. What direction is that again? That's right, direction 1. Draw really tiny flying saucers. Make them look distant. You can barely see the detail. I ought to draw these little antennas on top. And then I'll draw another small flying saucer. And then another small flying saucer back here in the background. Really tiny. This is fun because you know just how huge and how large the space station really is. It's probably about, a mile high in the sky. Draw the back. And then get my fine point pen, and I'll add some crosshatch shading on the inside of this scoop. And I'll get my other fine point pen. Darken in the inside right here. Oh, wrong pen. You have to make sure you use the right pen when you add the detail. And I wanted to make another scoop on this side so that the flying saucers over here have a place to take off also. So I'll draw this line in direction 7 and add the scoop. And a little bit of shading on the inside down here. You know what? I really appreciate all the mail that you're sending in to me. Just mountains and mountains of mail. It's so fun to see all your drawings. But remember, when you send me in some letters, some drawings, I look at all of them, but I can't respond to each of them. So keep sending your drawings in to me, but remember, I can't write out to all of them. I just don't have all that mountain of time that it would take to answer everybody. Now I'm going to draw some crosshatch shading right here. And then, what else should I add? How about another layer below here? Let me finish this layer I'm working on. Direction 1. Direction 7. And I'll add some cross-hatching. Some cross-hatching here. Should I add another layer below this anti-gravity device to make this a little more detailed? You want me to? Okay. Remember that dot right in the center. That's important. Direction 1. Direction 7. Direction 1, direction 7. You know those by heart, huh? And I'll just go ahead and add one more layer below here. Very quickly. Add the cross-hatching. And you see the Unibear right here? He's looking up at the space station. He's waving to all the inhabitants on the space station. Zebtron's still over working with Dick Schaefer. I wonder what they're doing right now.
But how did you draw all of this?
Zebtron, that drawing I did with a pencil. But often I'll make quick sketches to help me remember buildings with a felt-tip pen.
In this book do you draw?
Yes, I take this book around for me to sketch buildings in different cities. This is a trip I took to Italy, and to help me memorize the buildings there and remember the details, I made quick sketches of buildings.
Can you show me some?
Sure. These are quick sketches I did in Italy. You can't erase when you use a felt-tip pen. This is just to remember part of a statue and a lamppost. This is a palace. This is from far away. Often I'll draw an object from the left and sometimes the same one from the right. And if I have lots of time, I'll use color and put in even more detail.
This is very attractive.
I like to do this. It helps me remember the building forever. When I make a drawing like this, it's like drawing it in your memory.
I like that. Drawing in your memory.
Now there's this really neat book that I looked at. You might want to take a look at it too. It's by David Macaulay, and he illustrated this fantastic book on castles. I heard that he did mountains and mountains of research for the book, and the book is really an excellent example of some good ideas on drawing castles and good drawing techniques. So if you get a chance, go in your library and look up that book. Add some more crosshatch. Now, these flying saucers are parked, and I'll make some flying saucers coming in for a landing from both sides, and I'll work first of all on this side. And once again, don't make them all going horizontal. If you draw a whole fleet of flying saucers, make some slanting this way and some slanting that way, just to add some spice and some variety and a little bit of flavor into your drawing. Did you know that your drawing can have flavor? It does. When you add your own little personal touches, it's like adding some flavor to your drawing or some spice. And we'll draw little tiny flying saucers back here in the distance. And watch what happens with proportion. If I draw a really large flying saucer, I'll put the little Martian space in there. Using foreshortening. I'll make this one a different style of flying saucer. See what happens? This flying saucer looks a lot closer than that one. It'll smile. And I'll draw the legs. And then I'll make another flying saucer right over here. This is a good word. This is using size right here. These near ones drawn larger and they get smaller as they go in the background. And this space station looks humongous using proportion because these flying saucers are drawn so tiny. Now, I can add more layers here. I can just put lots more flying saucers. I always have plenty of room for more flying saucers. It makes your drawing a little more interesting, doesn't it? If you have all these little tiny specks out in the background flying around. And I'll even make little dust clouds coming out of the back of each one of these. Okay, can you see?